It's been 30 years of joyfulness. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. The Midday News is live on Joy 99.7 FM and hits 103.9 FM here in Accra. We are also on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi and on myjoyonline.com. We are also live in all 16 regions of Ghana via various affiliates, live on X Spaces and on Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. Coming up, Ghana's debt burden projected to shrink by over $70 billion, driven largely by the cedi's rapid appreciation against major international currencies, particularly the US dollar. Meanwhile, Ghana is on track to meet its 55% debt to GDP ratio target under the IMF program, waiting to undertake the special operation
for over 20 years, and based on that,
also in this bulletin, authorities have begun pruning weak and overgrown branches along the Atomic Kwabenya Road, making several mahogany and fragile trees for removal.
We should always take the lazy and easy way of always cutting down a tree when there's a little hazard, not because of the tree, but because of our own inefficiency or ineffectiveness in putting in place a maintenance.
But this move has drawn sharp criticism from environmentalists, with Arocha Ghana calling it environmental sabotage and shameful. Also, 3 major university unions declaring indefinite strike, citing unfulfilled agreements on conditions of service by past and present governments.
Our decision to embark on an indefinite strike action
Bumarak will bring us their sports headlines.
Yeah, so Manchester United and Spurs battle for redemption in the Europa League final with Champions League football on the line.
These and more with me, Hannah Odame. This is Joy News. We are independent, fearless, and credible. Now, analysis by Joy News Research shows the city's recent performance against major international currencies could slash Ghana's debt burden by some 10%. There's more, as data shows external components of the country debt could drop by more than 70 billion cedis. Ghana's public debt stock could see a significant decline of about 10% due to the rapid appreciation of the cedi, and that's according to fresh estimates by the Joy News research team. Analysis by the team shows this rally is poised to ease the country's external debt burden, resulting in the 10% reduction in the current 726.7 billion cedi debt burden. There's more in the following reports.
Since the beginning of the year, the cedi has surged in value, gaining approximately 18% against the US dollar, making it the fastest appreciating currency globally. An analysis by Joy News Research shows this rally is poised to ease Ghana's debt burden, resulting in a 10% reduction in the current 727 billion cedis debt burden. The current appreciation of the cedi is expected to reduce the external component of Ghana's debt stock by some 74 billion cedis, which could translate into an overall debt reduction. This development marks a reversal of past trends. In 2022, the Finance Ministry disclosed that the cedi's sharp depreciation added 93 billion cedis to the national debt. The strengthening of the local currency is expected to reduce the country's current debt to GDP ratio of 61.8%, potentially accelerating progress towards meeting the IMF target of 55% ahead of schedule.
Yeah, so earlier we heard that Ghana is on track to meet its 55% debt to GDP ratio target under the IMF program by the end of the second quarter this year. And my colleague Isaac Kwefie joins me in the studio with more. So first, tell us about this debt target under the IMF program.
Well, look, Hannah, the IMF supported program is aiming to restore debt sustainability by reducing the debt to GDP ratio to 55% by 2028. That was the initial target. Now, prior to the agreement, Bank of Ghana data now shows that Ghana's debt to GDP ratio was over 70%, way above the recommended threshold, and that was the reason why we had to do the debt restructuring agreement before we got the IMF program.
So then, where do we stand now, and how does the current city's recent performance factor in?
Well, as of the end of 2024, Ghana's debt to GDP ratio stood at 61.8%, with a total debt stock of nearly 727 billion Ghana cedis, with a GDP of 1.17 trillion Ghana cedis. However, the city's strong performance in 2024 of the early part of this year, appreciating by some 17.6% against the US dollar, has led to a significant drop in the value of our external debt. Now, this appreciation alone has reduced Ghana's debt stock by 74 billion, Ghana cedis, just like you said. And I mean, the research team has been analyzing this, and we have actually revised Ghana's debt to GDP ratio estimate as some 55.4%. I mean, this, if we are able to maintain the current appreciation of the city, we could be ahead of schedule in terms of meeting the debt to GDP ratio target of the IMF.
Looks like by a 3-year margin, ahead of schedule by...
What we know is that, we will be above that target, and then the IMF possibly will be happy with the kind of pace we are actually on now.
Thank you very much, Isaac Kufieji there. Now, moving on this afternoon, the Attorney General is fighting the fresh case filed at the Supreme Court, challenging the decision by President Mahama to suspend the Chief Justice, Gertrude Torkornoo. The Apex Court only 2 weeks ago dismissed an action filed by the MPP MP for Old Tafo, Vincent Assefuwa, also challenging the CJ's suspension by a 3-2 decision. The Attorney General describes the new cases filed by these two parties as completely baseless and has urged the Supreme Court to throw them out. And my colleague, who is a member of our legal desk, Kwekwa Santi, joins me in the studio with some more details. Now, tell us the action that was filed by Theodore Kofi Atakorte. What's he asking for?
So according to this action that has been filed, and we expect that the hearing is going to happen anytime at the Supreme Court, he wants a declaration that pursuant to Articles 23, 1466 and 296B and C of the 1992 Constitution, the exercise of discretionary power or authority by the President in determining the existence or otherwise of a prima facie case in respect of petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice ought to be regulated by a published constitutional instrument. He wants a declaration that pursuant to Articles 23, 146.6 and 296B and C of the 1992 Constitution, the constitutional role of the Council of State in assisting the President to determine the existence of a prima facie case and to be consulted on the appointment of a committee of inquiry must also be subject to transparent regulation published by constitutional instrument. And so he wants an order and a declaration, consequential relief, that the court would deem fit that the suspension of the Chief Justice and the establishment of the committee to inquire on Article 46 failed to satisfy the Constitution, and he wants the Supreme Court to strike this action down.
Okay. But then we also know there's another case that was filed by the group called the Center for Citizenship and Electoral Systems. What are the reliefs that they are also seeking?
Well, according to this group also, they claim that upon a true and proper interpretation of Article 17, 1, 2, 3, 23, 296 of the 1992 Constitution, the determination of a prima facie case and the suspension of the Chief Justice by the President was unconstitutional. And they want the Supreme Court to declare these actions null, void, and of no effect.
But then the AG has filed an affidavit opposing the demands made by these two groups. What are the reliefs? And then also, what's the AG's contention here?
Well, exactly. According to Reginald Niodo, who is a state attorney at the Office of the Attorney General, and according to this affidavit that he has deposed in court, he says that the materials which have all been exhibited and stated in the paragraphs relating to the applicant's case are all subject to in-camera hearings, and that the materials which have been exhibited are simply inadmissible on grounds that they are not authentic, on the grounds of authenticity, that the probative value, if any, of the materials which are exhibited to or matters which are stated in the name paragraphs being authentic and in violation of the Constitution is far outweighed by the prejudicial effect of the ongoing proceedings. And they say that they do not believe that the president has done anything unconstitutional, for which reason the Supreme Court should exercise its discretion in favor of the applicants in this matter.
Okay, quick question to there with those details. Well, from the studio, let's take you to the Supreme Court, where another member of our legal desk, Latif Idris, is covering proceedings in this matter for us. So, Latif, the proceedings, has this begun, and what's the mood in the court currently?
Yes, so Hannah, the proceeding for the case brought before the Supreme Court by the Center for Citizenship, Constitutional and Electoral System is what is being heard right now at the Supreme Court. I mean, the one that was billed to take place initially, I think that will come second. But for now, what is being heard is the case brought before the Supreme Court by the Center for Citizenship, Constitutional and Electoral Systems. And Kweku has just elaborated on that, so I wouldn't want to belabor the point.
Okay, but then tell us about the panel hearing these cases, Latif.
So the panel hearing this particular case is, we have Justice Paul Bafuboni, he is the one presiding. There is Justice Istifu Moro, Tanko Amadu, there is Justice Yoni Kolendi, there is Justice Henry Anthony Kofi, and Justice Yao Asare Daku. And I'm telling you, Hannah, that there is serious arguments, submissions being made by lawyers for the plaintiff. And now, before I stepped out, lawyer for the Chief Justice was on his feet. And he is making the point that there has not been any prima facie determination by the committee or the Council of State, I must say. These were categorical statements from the lawyer who is representing the suspended Chief Justice in this particular case. He tells the court that in his own interpretation, there has not been any prima facie determination. And so all that the president has done is unconstitutional, and he wants the processes to be suspended. And that the committee that is hearing the whole matter should be stopped from continuing with their work. Hannah.
Interesting developments from the court there. Latif Idris, member of our legal affairs desk, reporting, and he will bring us updates in subsequent bulletins. Let's come to Accra, because the Metropolitan Assembly, the Ghana Police Service, and the National Security are undertaking a joint demolition exercise at the Circle New Plant Station. The operation, part of the Assembly's decongestion exercise, which began on Tuesday, has seen several makeshift structures of the squatters destroyed. We'll take you live to the ground in a bit, but first listen to the operations manager at the Environmental Health Office of the AMA, Joseph Atenga, speaking to my colleague James Aveji.
Supermarket line from the first bus stop to the end here has been taking over, virtually no access for any human being to stop and pick a bus. And apart from that, the back, electrical connections, who connected them? Immorality, who asked them to live here? They converted the place to places of abort, mattresses. This, you can imagine the electrical system there. At the end of the day, if there is any fire outbreak here, they tend to say they are here for over 20 years, 10 years. Meanwhile, they have been causing not to be here. And based on that, the mayor sanctioned that all the bus stops must be made free for passengers to use. All the sanitation conditions must be met to the standard of AMA. And that is the exercise of today, particularly this place. And we are going to get it to all over the bus stops where the people have converted the places to trading activities.
Let's now go to James Aveji, who is currently with the team. Now, James, tell us exactly where you are and the latest of the exercise.
Well, Hannah, we are just wrapping up from the new plant station here. The demolition exercise has come to an end. Just a few minutes ago, the place has been reduced to a plain, clear place. The sanitation officers from the AMA are at work now, sweeping and gathering the rubbles that have been left behind. The team just crossed the road to Las Palmas, where they are giving official notice to a number of similar squatters who have put up other makeshift structures around the railway area.
Now, how are the squatters reacting to this, James?
As expected, they were pleading and begging the authorities to pardon them, promising to leave the place, but the authority would not have any of that. Some went to the extent of calling on the President, John Mahama, to intervene for them.
That resident is telling us that the mayor came here yesterday to promise them to get them a place, but he did that only for them to wake up today and to face another eviction from their place.
Yeah, so James, briefly translate for us what the lady said, and then let us know also what the traffic situation at the Tudu area is, where you were yesterday.
Essentially, talking about the fact that they are also voters who voted this government into power, and that they are also citizens, reason why the authorities should have some level of empathy on them. Earlier in the morning, I've been to the Central Business District where the traffic situation is smooth as it was yesterday when we left after the decongestion exercise across Tudu, Mokola, as well as Kantamanto. As we speak, the authorities are demarcating, painting part of the pavement red as a demarcation beyond which the traders cannot go as a part of the measures to keep the place, the sanity of the place into the future.
Well, James Oveji, thank you so much. Meanwhile, the mayor of Accra, Michael Alute, says he will ensure that the cleaning of the city is done on a 24-hour basis. He was speaking on PM Express on the Joy News channel.
I'm bringing over 1,000 boys to run day and night. A 24-hour economy. I'm gonna start from AMA. I know we are starting from most of the places, but AMA is gonna start 24-hour ticketing, clearing baller, tax force. We're going to start it in 24 hours. We're going to work to make sure the city stays alive till morning. So this time it's not something that we're going to do and just leave it like that. No.
So from Circle, let's move to Hacho, where authorities have begun pruning overgrown trees along the Atomic Kwabenya Road, citing safety concerns as some branches tangle with power lines and pose risk to motorists. Some mahogany and fragile trees have been marked for removal, but the move have sparked backlash. Environmental group Arocha Ghana calls the action shameful and demands an immediate halt and a clear replanting plan. Let's hear from Maxwell Agbagba, who is reporting from the area.
It's a busy Wednesday morning. The usual traffic on the Atomic First Gate and the Kwabenya Police Station is conspicuously missing. What is striking here, however, is the beautiful mahogany and other trees that have formed a canopy over the stretch. It is cooler than usual here. Some days ago, the Forestry Commission gave permission for some of the trees to be cut down and others pruned. I'm told some weak trees here are posing a threat to motorists. Some of the trees are also hitting the power lines. Already, some of the earmarked trees have been pruned, and I can see them here along the streets, on part of the streets here. But some environmentalists are not happy about the decision. One of them, Arocha Ghana, has described it as an environmental sabotage and shameful. They say the felling of trees along the Atomic Kwabenya Highway must cease immediately, and a clear, enforceable plan for replanting and maintaining green cover is essential. They say that indiscriminate removal without a proper maintenance and replacement regime leads to environmental degradation, increased urban heat, and loss of biodiversity. I have a man here who loves the environment. He's also a member of an NGO that protects the environment. He's equally not happy about the situation. Hi, what's your name, sir?
My name is Zakaria Angmenison from Voluntary Work Camp Association of Ghana.
You're not happy about the trees being cut down?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Because this is a threat to the climate change, as we are all advocating for. And for that matter, is not accepted. We are advocating for tree planting, of course. So we are hoping that authority take note of this and then work on it as soon as possible.
So let's now hear from the Executive Director of Arocha Ghana, Daryl Bosu, who has criticized the practice of cutting down trees at the slightest sign of hazard.
Those trees there need to be managed. They are trees by the roadside. They look beautiful. They provide a significant benefit. They clean the air. They cool the environment. Once you drive through that area, you can be driving in from the hot sun. Once you get under those trees, you can feel the difference in the coolness of the air. So we are really happy that those trees are there. And interestingly, the trees were planted by the Ghana Atomic Energy Commission several years back. So you expect that we'll put in place a mechanism to protect them. And protection here meaning that we ensure that the root systems are well grounded, they are steady, and also the trees are from time to time pruned so that they don't become a hazard to also the electric cables and also even to commuters and to motorists using that stretch. But
you heard there Daryl Bosu. He is the Executive Director of Arocha Ghana. Let's take a short break here. When we come back, we'll tell you about today's episode of Climate Focus. We'll look at the proactive steps being taken by NADMO to protect lives and also reduce the toll of floods as the rainy season begins.
It's important that we do simulation exercise because without simulations, it's going to be very difficult.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
Hello, esteemed CEOs. Join us for the highly anticipated 9th Ghana CEO Summit and Expo on 26th May 2025 at Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast, Accra from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. This biggest business leadership conference offers actionable insight and strategic opportunities for topmost CEOs and policymakers. This year's theme, leading Ghana's economic reset, transforming business and governance for a sustainable futuristic economy. We'll focus on transformational leadership to reset Ghana's economy through sustainability, digital innovation, and governance reforms. Be inspired by the special guest of honor, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. Key sessions include CEO presentations, master classes, keynote plenaries, the CEO Excellence Awards, and more. Register today at GhanaCEOSummit.com to secure your spot. For inquiries and sponsorship, contact 0546 391 970 or email info@GhanaCEOSummit.com. Powered by Ghana CEO Network in partnership with Deloitte, PwC, GIPC, SIGA, Media General, and Multimedia Group. Ghana CEO Summit. Be inspired.
When I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth with Kale Charcoal toothpaste. This gives me confidence all day.
Anytime you meet Amma, don't be surprised I smile showing my beautiful white teeth because I don't have cavity thanks to Kale Charcoal toothpaste for its natural charcoal properties. In fact, we are like twins. I can't go without my Kale Charcoal toothpaste.
That be why I dey use Kale Charcoal toothpaste morning and night when I dey go bed safe. It dey make my teeth white when it dey comot every set from my mouth inside. My confidence level they go up, so I dey show my 32 teeth all.
Introducing the Kale Charcoal toothpaste, formulated with activated bamboo charcoal powder, ensures whiter teeth and removes bad breath. The strong natural property of the activated bamboo charcoal removes bacteria, absorbs surface stains on our teeth caused by coffee, wines, and tobacco. Welcome, Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Kale Charcoal toothpaste, Sankofa Yenchi.
Kale, happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, Dini Sir. And you stay soft concentrate fabric softener. I was such it move. Just ready this say be here met na oche. Ni here net na oche. No bia baby so was some demoni ni na say. Dini say. For quiet yesim biara so since you want area. Use stay soft and ni here net na oche. Na ni boss so da from cra. A fabric softener Eye near says, choose to stay soft. No who's so say no. FDID a garden cratu yatu.
The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair 2025. Dream it. Own it. Live it. Coming soon.
Hi, Mubarak.
Yes, Hannah. So tonight, Manchester United and Spurs face off in the Europa League final. United sit 16th, Spurs 17th, and between them, they've lost 39 league games this season. But a win today could change everything. And the good news for United fans is that exactly 17 years ago, the Red Devils defeated Chelsea to win the Champions League. So hopefully history will repeat itself. I know Fred is in pain because Arsenal are trophyless this season, but United will not let that happen. Of course, we are winning the trophy tonight.
We wait.
Yes.
Tomorrow we will all be here.
I'll be here as well. I pray I'll be here.
For the details of that. Well, let's move on. And 3 staff unions of the country's universities have declared an indefinite strike starting today. The unions, the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana, the Technical University Administrators, and the Federation of Universities Senior Staff Association are accusing both current and previous governments of failing to honor a 6-month-old agreement aimed at improving their conditions of service. They insist until their demands are met, all members are to withdraw their services and stay home. Let's listen to the National Chairman of the Senior Staff Association, George Ansong.
Our decision to embark on an indefinite strike action effective today, 21st May 2025. This difficult decision comes after countless engagements and good efforts extended to the government, which have unfortunately been met with persistent inaction.
We stay on education, and the Minister for Government Communications, Felix Kwachifusu, has announced significant progress in the ongoing implementation of the No Fees Stress Initiative for first-year university students, which is aimed at easing the financial burden on students who are entering public tertiary institutions. Mr. Kwachifusu has also revealed more details on his Facebook account, and Joy News editor Fred Smith is in the studio with me for more details. Tell us about it.
Well, in that Facebook post shared today, Mr. Kwachifusu revealed that over 57,000 students have so far accessed the dedicated online portal, with over 41,000 students having completed the registration process. The registration, he explained, is a vital step in the reimbursement process for students who have already paid the academic fees, and it allows the government to obtain students' banking details for direct refunds securely, and also serves to validate lists submitted by public tertiary institutions.
Thank you very much, Fred Smith. Now, with the rains beginning, the National Disaster Management Organization says it is shifting focus from relief to readiness by training emergency responders, health workers, and local leaders to act before disaster strikes. Let's hear more from Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
This year, the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, says it is taking no chances. As the rains begin, the message is clear: prevention pays. Charlotte Norman is the Director for Climate Change Adaptation and Disaster Risk Reduction at NADMO.
Simulations bring these out. Sometimes, if you are not doing a simulation and the real issue happens, you would think that you know what to do, but then everybody is there, the stakeholders are all there, and you don't know who to take what action.
In 2024 alone, Kwabere East recorded 17 disaster cases,
comprising of fire disasters, commercial disasters, and collapsing of buildings and what have you.
For Charlotte Norman and her team, it is about making sure every actor knows their role before the first drop of rain.
In the end, the districts as the community should be able to reduce the negative impacts of flood hazards.
A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
Well, Derek is here with the trends. What's up?
Hannah, guess what? I mean, everybody is buzzing and
I mean, quite exciting
Tell
because
us.
the CD is doing so well that I mean everybody's shocked. Now people are going like, Charlie, it should go down to 8 CDs. People like Elton are pushing for it to go to 4 CDs and all of that.
You're like Oliver Twist, asking for more.
Yeah, we of course everybody wants the economy to be better. So that's number one in the trend.
What are the
CD.
reactions though?
Well, somebody says that this is one of the greatest comeback ever. You know, almost like the Ramonanta. That I mean, making a comeback. We seen the CD bounce back, and we're all excited about that. Number one in the trends, Hannah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Derek. And with that, we end the bulletin with me, Hannah Odame. Thanks for choosing us. You find more stories on myjoyonline.com. Pastor Mensah Rotabel comes up next with a living word.